Good evening. You ever thought about your purpose in life? Sometimes sit alone and you just wonder, what's my purpose for being here? Or why am I'm here? Or what made me do this? But tonight, I'm going to share with you, we're going to speak a little bit about your purpose in life. Everything is made for a purpose. Man makes an automobile to provide transportation. The refrigerator is made to keep items cool. A house for shelter. And you just think about other things, go on and on. But I'm going to ask you a question. What is your purpose here? What is your purpose? What is your purpose? I would like some of you to share some of what you think your purpose is. I believe myself, with me, I'm going to start with me. I love helping people, no matter who they are. I just love helping. My wife could tell you that. I get a kick out of it. And it's also just doing things and seeing when you get through, they'll say like, thank you so much. And the joy that they have on their face, not asking for money or anything, but just doing things. I was last week going to Home Depot, so I seen this guy, he had a lot of lumber he was putting in his truck. And I asked him if he needs some help. And he didn't know me and I didn't know him. He said, no, you got things to do. I said, no, I don't mind. And the lumber was pretty heavy, but we both did it. And at the end, he said, thank you so much. I said, no problem. And I got a kick out of that because, we all need help somewhere, somehow in this life. We just not put here to be selfish. And Jesus showed us that way when he was here on earth. But I just want you tonight just to think about, what's my purpose? So, you ever wonder what is your purpose on earth? A lot of people would say different reasons, but they think they were put here on earth. What is your purpose? You hear a lot of people say, especially when they get in something, I guess a bad situation or something wrong, or something happened to someone, they say, why am I here? What's my purpose? They just want to give up on life totally. And they plunder and ask themselves questions. But if someone come along and just share with them and says, God put you here for a reason, for a purpose. And I know a lot of tragedies going on, but God has a reason and a purpose for everything. We could try to wonder or think, why did this happen? Only he knows. But we're here to share the good life, the good news with other individuals, people we meet all the time. You run across people just traveling, going places, and they see that light, the purpose that you have, they see it and say, hey, some of you may ask the question, I want that same light. What must I do to get it? And that's a good time to just start sharing with them. But it does happen. I'm going to say it doesn't, but it really does happen. But what's your purpose here in life? Also think about Jesus. Jesus he was put here on this earth to fulfill the law. In Matthew 5:17, this, what I'm going to read from is the King James Version. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And just think about him, the turmoil, the ridicule, the things that he went through. And he could have called 10,000 angels when he was on the cross, but he didn't. And I love that so much about him. He gave us, no matter who we are, rich, young, old, poor, or whatever, all of us that chance to redeem ourselves through him and his Father. And think about the love that his Father sending him here on earth to save us all. And so many times you run across neighbors, friends, relatives, and you just want to share with them. And the other day, a guy I grew up with, I knew him, he was a pretty bad person. So he moved to my neighborhood. And I've been praying for him, and I've been saying the things to him. And the other day when I was coming home, he stopped me and he said, "Oscar, I'm going to talk to you. And we're going to set a study up, and I'm going to start sharing with him." His mind is open now. And he said, "Oscar, I gave up a lot of things I used to do." I said, "Well, thank God and thank you, for doing that." Because it takes a big person to realize that you have to give up certain things if you want to follow Christ. But I just thought that was so beautiful. And that's my purpose, to help bring those to Christ. And I could have said, "Well, I don't have time. I'm too busy." But I didn't. And it's another person that I grew up with. He's like a brother to me. I've been praying about him, and also I'm going to approach him too. He don't know it yet, but I'm going to approach him and invite him and his wife to come to the congregation and just check things out. But, you just think about your purpose. We all, like I said again, we all have a purpose in life, a purpose being here. So, Tim? Mm-hmm.
That's when you start getting better, really a lot better idea of what our purpose is. And the people in the Bible, they really did not know what their situation was.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph had gone through so much and not really understanding, why am I put in this situation? Why am I here? Why my brother hate me? Why did my brother sell me?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I put in prison for that I didn't do things? And then one of the greatest statements he makes later on with his brothers is, "I understand now God has put me in a situation so that I can save my people." And so he started understanding much later on in his life what his purpose was. Esther didn't understand her purpose.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, why am I going out with this beauty contest? Why did the king pick me? And then Mordecai tells her, "Hey, you've been put in this situation for such a time as this
Mm-hmm.
to save your people."
Mm-hmm.
And, I just think that happens. I think sometimes other people help us
Mm-hmm.
see our purpose better. But as I get older, and hopefully as I get older, I'm going to even understand better
Yeah,
what our purpose is.
that's true. So many, like you said, so many times as we get older, we starting to understand our purpose, and we see things, and you can reflect back when you was younger and say, "I don't do those anymore." Like just even talking to students, younger people especially, and even some older, you just sharing with them, listening to them, and sharing some things that you went through. Because the same thing your mom and dad told you growing up, as you get older and you have kids, it's the same process. Nothing have changed. It's just a newer era of different gadgets, but everything the same. You say, "My mom and dad told me the same thing." My mom used to tell us all the time, "A hard head make a soft bottom." So, you didn't understand that when you was younger, but as you get older, you say, "Okay, now I see what she's saying." Or some things they just wouldn't tell you, they let you learn. And it just like what Christ did. He didn't tell us everything, but he let us go through trials and tribulations to see. And we say, "Okay, now I understand." And just think, like I said again, think about the trials and tribulations he had to go through. And he knew he had to endure. And even Satan tempted him. If you're the Son of Man, you do this and do that. But he said, "Away from me." He knew what he had to do. Obedience to the Father. And, I know we all get thick-headed. Sometimes we get thick-headed. But God has his way of touching our hearts or showing us things. Say, "Okay, I've been a bad person," so he's, straighten us up and put us on the right path. And that's what I love about it. He don't turn us away or say, "Okay," like your parents do. You go and sit in the corner or something, or go to the room with no TV. But God still loves us. And That's the same thing with us. We have a purpose in life, and we have to still love man, regardless of the things that go on or what he or she do. And it's just something that's just mind-boggling. Like the other day, when you hear something happen, they say, "Why did God let this happen?" There's a reason. And I remember back in the days when what was the last big hurricane came through here? Anyway, I forgot. It was a big hurricane came through here, and everybody's running to Orlando. So I said, "Why should I go there? I might run a hurricane." I stayed right here, and guess what? The people went to Orlando. The storm went there. So I said, See, God has a reason. And I'm gonna use another good example. For instance, 9/11, prime example. Everybody know 9/11 was. So a lot of us probably saying, "Why did this happen to our country? What happened? We the ultimate supreme power. This was supposed to happen." But God has a way of showing us He's still in control, regardless of what man says. And I thought about that a lot because to do damage to that building, and things that happen. Yes. Mm-hmm.
The world, and they say their own purpose is you go around once in life, so get as much as you can, make as much as you can.
Yes.
And it's all about ourselves. It's all about selfies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, who in the world doesn't know that a selfie starts with the word selfish?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I can't get enough pictures of myself. What is that all about? I mean, it's not others. Like you said, it's about doing things for other people, and that's where you're going to get your best fulfillment in life.
Mm-hmm.
Concentrate on others. What can I do for them? Because as soon as we start worrying about how we can fulfill ourselves, it's an empty hole.
Yes.
We're not going to fill it.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that too at the end. Along with that also, I could think, yes?
With them saying that, they make me think of the scripture when the Bible teaches us to esteem others more than self.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important that we put others before ourselves. One of my favorite scriptures is when we talk about our purpose in life is I go to the scripture, it says, the whole duty of man is to fear God. Is to man. And with that, you can take that wherever you go in life, wherever you travel, you take that with you. That's your guide in life, that's your guide close to every process. We can just look, see that.
We was going to talk about it also. You got a little ahead of me. But again, as we was talking about, Tim was saying itself, prime example, I think about my grandmother. She was a person that was always thought of others. And my wife reminded me so much of her because she's always thinking of others. She put herself last and think about the ones in front. And with my grandmother, she used to have a small place. It wasn't really big, but she was a good cook. And she could cook with her eyes closed, and it turns out perfect. So her joy was to, no matter, you come with me to the house, you family. No matter what color you are or who you are, you family. And you're going to get something to eat before you leave. And also, if you had a place to sleep, you'll sleep. All of us would just pile up in the living room. The house wasn't that big, but her joy is just to have all who she can at the house and just to love them and serve. And I remember one time, I told my wife this story. I got to tell you this story. When I was leaving, I surprised her, and I was stationed in Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia. And I'm from Havana, Florida. If you guys don't know, that's right up by Quincy, Tallahassee. But anyway, I didn't call her. I came home, surprised her. And the whole time I was there, a friend of mine lived in Quincy, so I asked him, could I catch a ride? So he said yes. So I caught a ride with him. But I stayed there the whole time just talking and sharing with her. And then the next morning, we got ready to leave. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. She got up early anyway, so she made biscuits and chicken for us. And we ate all the way back from Florida to Georgia. He said, I seen him a day later. He said, Oscar? That was the best biscuits and chicken I ever had in my life. But her joy, man, I called her and I let her know. I said, Grandma, that was but she said, thank you so much. But she didn't have much, but she shared with all who came to the house. Like on Christmas, she liked to can items like preserves, figs, whatever, but she'd give them to you. She said, I don't have much, but this is all I have. And I said, Grandma, you don't have to give me anything, but just the willingness, eagerness to share, and she put herself last. But I love that about her so much, and like again, my wife, she reminded me of that because plenty of times, whoever come over our house or whoever she can, she helped, and she always put herself last, and that's one of her purpose. And my grandmother had a purpose, that was on her purpose. And once again, what is your purpose in life? The world is different standards as we call success. If a man makes $1 million, he's successful. If he builds a nice, fine, big house, he's successful. If his business is big and making a lot of money, he's a success. But the real measure must be made in the light of man's purpose. What we talked about earlier. Man who does not serve his God has failed no matter what else he may have accomplished. Man has a specific purpose, and he can not fulfillment in life until he begins to fear God and keep his commandments, as we spoke. The whole duty of man, Ecclesiastes 12 chapter 13 verse. And speaking of this important man's purpose as a spiritual being made in God's image, Jesus said, for what is a man profit if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? That's coming from Matthew 16 chapter 26 verse. We serve our God only through Jesus Christ, and through him we glorify God. Peter said, if any man suffer as Christ, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in his name. 1 Peter 4 chapter 16 verse. I was looking at news this morning, and you probably heard the story about it was a Christian school that was going, the football team was going somewhere, and I think it's somewhere in I-4, the semi-tractor trailer is next to them. So you probably heard people say, never ride by a tractor trailer in case that tire blow, because it always come over to you. So I was just watching news this morning, and the bus was right next to the tractor trailer, so the tire blew. So it knocked the bus until the next, I guess it was the little media, whatever, the little, I don't know what you call those things, little fence or barrier for not crossing over. It knocked it real close to that. And it almost, look at the picture, almost went over to the next lane on the oncoming traffic. So the reporter asked the guy on the bus, he said, what happened? And he was explaining to him. He said, you think that's happened? That's surprising? And he just said, God's awesome. But the guy the reporter couldn't understand it, the powers of God. He said, God just was with us. And the reporter kept asking these weird questions to the man, like, I said, I hope we come with the right answers, because it was a good time to just tell him. A little he wanted to just say, look, I told you God's in control. But the man kept trying to, evidently, I don't know if he, believe in the don't believe, but he kept trying to incent other issues and push something in, like, it just happened, it's just something freak of nature. But it wasn't. Once again, God was in control. Because if he wasn't, all of them would have lost their life, the whole football team. But they said a prayer, and the other guys on the bus and the teacher, they said nice things about it. But it's just amazing how man try to twist us to be ashamed and make us say things that they want us to say for them. But I can't step on, I got to step on some toes and say what's in the Bible. I'm not going to veer, take anything away from it. And again, my purpose is to spread the gospel, to teach. And that's what a lot of men on this earth don't see, But our job is to, like I say, go out there and spread the gospel. But it's just so funny when I seen that. So I'm gonna use that in my lesson this evening. But just think, the reporter trying to get him to say things, but he kept saying, "God is awesome, God is awesome." So the reporter probably just said, "Okay, I'll leave this alone and go somewhere else." But it was a joy seeing that. Any questions? Anything you want to say before I move on? Any comments? Yes.
That made me think of many times in business, I get a contract. I always think if I say, wow, this is a blessing, thank God for it. And sometimes my clients is like, no, that it's great that we have opportunities to glorify God in all instances of life. It's just so important that we do that. Because many times when we do that, maybe the only time they get to know the true love that we have for them.
Yes.
And so I think that was a way to glorify God, saying that He's so awesome, and knowing that the love, the agape love that is in control of it,
Yes.
His love. So it's just important for us to glorify Him. When the opportunity, presents itself, just glorify Him. Don't be ashamed of the gospel.
Yep.
Know it's a powerful thing. It's like, man,
It's true. It's true. There's so many times we get a chance to stand up for him, and just think a lot of people probably don't do it, but we can't be ashamed of him. And look what he did for us, all of us. And he didn't ask no questions. Didn't say, "Oh no, they're going to die for you because I don't like you." But he died for us all. But I just think about that all the time, and it gives me just the courage to keep going on and say, Christ, what he did for us. We don't deserve it, but look what he did for us. So keep pounding, keep going on, keep spreading all who we can. Any more comments? Okay. But just again, think about, as we speak, the purpose of life. What am I here? Why am I here? I'm put here for a purpose. And just think, as you leave the building, what is my purpose? There are many things that you, within the purpose of God, has for you. Be a good husband, a wife, a father, a mother, a good neighbor, successful in business, and so on and so on. But the real question is, are you a Christian? If the answer to that is no, then you are missing the very purpose of which God gave you life. So, what's your purpose? Are you a Christian? He gave us that chance to become one. But I just love talking to people, witness, and also just letting them see the light shine and helping all who I can help. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening to me. And yes.
Thank you, Oscar, for your message tonight. What's coming to me now is that I think what I will do after hearing what you have to say is in my morning Bible study, I'm going to ask myself that question because I think that it's something that I need to remind myself of every day.
Yes.
Why it was my purpose.
Yes.
It's very easy to forget that.
It's true.
Before you know it, you're doing or saying or thinking things that you really don't want to, you don't want to be that. If I remind myself the first thing in the morning and then throughout my day, I'll go, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. God led me to talk about it. But just think, as you said, a lot of times we forget. But we have to remember, we're a child of God. We have to set the example. We got people watching us no matter what we do. And along with what my wife said, when we go places, I remember one time we worked in a place over in Tampa. I'm not going to say the name of it. But anyway, we was contracted to clean the building. And this building takes in money from different ATM machines. Like, for instance, the end of the night, I seen $1 million on the table. They can have a line from their door to right here. Each girl has a card. She can have 100,000, 300, 20,000, whatever number they add up out of the machine. So the guy said, "Hey, you want to say $1 million?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Look through that window." And I looked on the table, they had money stacked like this. And as we was in there cleaning, I found quarters on the floor. I just vacuum them up, pick them up, throw them on the table. They're not mine. I don't want them. But you never know who's watching you. So many times we get tested, and people want to see, I'm going to see if you're a Christian or not, or so-called, Christian. They'll do something to try to get you riled up, whatever, they try to get you to do something, I don't know. But anyway, you just have to stand fast and let the light, be seen and shown. Say, I'm a child of God. I'm not going to do that. Because I know many times, people try to tempt you to do something, or you get tempted. Say, nope, Satan, get away. But it's beautiful to remember our purpose, and that's one thing I love about him. He'll never let us forget it, the purpose. As long as we read this here and stay and study with this here, mine's going to fall apart, but this here, we'll never go wrong. And just having brothers and sisters around us to keep us encouraged. I know every morning I get the guy who baptized me back way when, anyway, he moved to Pensacola. So every morning he send me the devotion, and he write long ones, and every morning it's on my phone. So it's like a ritual. I wake up, 7:30, beep. I know to look at it and read it, because that's when my phone go off. And it's always him. No matter where I'm at, it's always there. And if he go out of town, devotion will presume when I come back. He'll let us know. But it's just encouraging. His purpose, I tell him all the time, you're a beautiful brother. I said, thank you so much, because he's very knowledgeable of the word, and he's on fire, and he's, like I say, he was my mentor when I started. As a matter of fact, Tim know him. But it's just beautiful to have people in your life that has a purpose also along with us, same purpose, and we as brothers and sisters in Christ. But thank you so much.